Senate queries the Minister of Finance over an addition of 206 billion naira into the budget of the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management. Hope rises for the establishment of a National Commission for Almajiri Education. And later on the program,
when a disaster happens, members or as a group would come up with motions informing both our electorate and even Nigerians where there is a problem, because we are representative of the people. Then that is not communicated to NEPA for intervention.
The chairman of the House Committee on Environment will join us to talk about the flood devastation across the country and the interventions made by relevant government agencies. You're watching the Hallowed Chambers on TVC News. I am Tijesu Adewi. The Senate's Committee on Special Duties wants the Minister of Finance to explain how 206 billion naira was added to the 2023 budget of the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development. The lawmakers wonder why such an addition will be made despite the drop in the country's revenue. The minister will also explain why an addition was made to the budget of the Ministry of Health and the Primary Healthcare Development Agency.
For the 2022, which was not released, and we said part of it is for the NAF's budget and part for the NDDC. The money was not released, and now we have seen it occurring by almost tenfold, and we're going to also clarify from the Federal Ministry of Finance to know why this increase, despite the fact that the previous year the money was not even released for the budget. So
we cannot continue to borrow money and plunge this country into debt for our children and our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren to come and pay without investing in what they will see. Chairman, I want to move a motion that the Minister of Finance should appear before this committee.
Or we will ask Minister of Finance, to come and give us, proper information of that bilateral, engagement, the increase and the non-release, in 20.
Very soon, the number of out-of-school children in the country will be drastically reduced if the National Commission on Almajiri Commission Bill is passed. For now, the bill has passed second reading in the House of Representatives. The bill seeks a coordinating body for multimodal system of education to reduce illiteracy, promote skill acquisition and entrepreneurial programs.
I stand to present a motion for a bill for an act to establish the National Commission for Almajiri Education and out-of-school children to provide for a multimodal system of education, to tackle the menace of illiteracy, develop skill acquisition and entrepreneurship programs, prevent youth poverty.
Now, because every child is entitled to education and shouldn't be restricted, this particular program is an interventionist to bridge the gap. And if it's an intervention to bridge the gap, it presupposes that it has to have a time limit.
For not only the Almajiri, but for the out-of-school children, so that they can be out of the street. And they may be given or be provided with some skills, so that they can be on their own.
The Director General of the National Institute of Legislative and Democratic Studies says the high turnover of lawmakers at the federal and state legislative houses will significantly affect the quality of lawmaking in the parliament. He blames the excesses of the executive, especially state governors, for the drop in the number of lawmakers returning to the parliament in the next democratic dispensation.
But what is bad is the machination behind it. And what am I saying? We have seen a situation where governors need to recall by denying a serving a vibrant senator ticket because of ego, because of complex, because they believe, oh, if I'm to go to Senate, with Ahmed Lawal. Let me use Yobe now. In the time of Gendam, if I'm to go to Senate with Ahmed Lawal will be a ranking senator. Oh, I will not be deputy chairman, Ahmed Lawal will not be chairman. I will not do that. I better force him back home.
After many months of uncertainty and speculations, President Muhammadu Buhari has sent nominations to the Senate for confirmation as members of the board of the Niger Delta Development Commission. The president nominated Loretta Onoche, his special assistant on new media, to be the chairman of the board that will be constituted after the Senate's confirmation. The president had in the past nominated Loretta Onoche as a national commissioner for INEC, but the Senate refused to confirm her nomination because of her perceived political affiliation.
I hereby present the unlisted 15 names of nominees as chairman and members of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, for confirmation by the Senate. Copies of their curriculum vitae are attached herewith. 1. Loretta Ifanyi Onoche, Chairman, Delta State.
We would go on a quick break now. Later, I will speak with the Chairman, House Committee on Environment. Don't go anywhere. Stay with us. You're still watching the Hallowed Chambers. My guest today is a member of the House of Representatives. He is a lawmaker representing Esako Federal Constituency in Edo State. He's also the Chairman, House Committee on Environment. His name is Honorable Johnson Oguma. It's good to have you on the program, sir.
Thank you. My pleasure.
All right, so we'll delve straight into the matters now. We've seen the devastation the floods have caused around the country, and we have also heard where lawmakers, came all out to also voice their concerns about this devastation and its impact on the people. And one of the major complaints we've seen from lawmakers is a supposed or an alleged lopsidedness in the distribution of all interventions by NEMA. What do you have to say about this? Do you agree? Because NEMA says this is has denied all these claims.
NEMA cannot deny the claim. It's not just even a claim, it's a fact. That also happened, and I think to my own understanding of the whole issue is, I think NEMA, I don't know whether it's politics they are playing or that the whole thing is lopsided, and I'm not comfortable with the way they handle things, and they keep giving wrong information to the public. That they'll be here, they'll be there, they'll be there. And this erosion that has devastated our people is not something that was not envisaged. We already knew that it was coming. Not just signs, there were information everywhere that this thing was coming and it's going to be in this type of magnitude. And for NEMA to start going about our bid to all the states, even when NEMA never visited my state. And there are so many other states that they never visited. They just assume that when they reach out to one, it covers all. It's not. And that they are not sincere, and I'm not comfortable with it.
All right, you walked out of the Ecological Fund public hearing or the probe. Why your outburst?
Because I couldn't stand the wrong or false information that NEMA management were presenting before the committee.
What are those false information?
So claiming that they have been to all states in Nigeria and that they have met with senators. They contacted senators and they contacted House of Assemblies members in the various states. So I asked NEMA, my area, we are not represented in the State House of Assembly since 2019. In the whole 6 local government, my senatorial zone, we don't have any member in the State House of Assembly since 2019. And my senator was never contacted, and I am here.
Did he disclose that to you?
I'm aware that he was never contacted. I, even myself, I moved a motion concerning the 2 or 3 local governments that are affected in my constituency, my federal constituency. So there was no sign of NEMA. I will keep repeating. And these motions were collated because so many constituencies were affected in Nigeria. So for NEMA to sit before us, it was telling us that President approved some relief and other grains, and that they have finished distribution, and it's the 36 states and FCT. The flood is not an allocation. It was not an allocation that was meant to be distributed 36 states plus FCT. If FCT was not affected with flood, there are so many other states that were not affected with flood. So why giving wrong information that all the materials were distributed across 36 states with FCT? So I was not comfortable with the lies. And my people were never reached. So that was the outburst. And after I've finished whatever I had in my mind, so I felt that there was no need remaining.
So many states, including Bayelsa State, have kicked against the submission of the Humanitarian Affairs Ministry, which says Jigawa is the worst hit in terms of the flood and devastation. Is this also the case with your state? Do you agree with this position?
Can anybody say Jigawa is the worst hit? The whole water empties through Bayelsa to the ocean. How can you say Jigawa? Jigawa is just a transit state for the flood that was coming all the way from Cameroon. So to say Jigawa was worst hit, that is an understatement. Anybody living along the River Niger, all of us, whether Anambra, Edo, Delta, all over. So when you say Jigawa is only a transit state. So the whole flood that you experience this period, emptied through Bayelsa and others, that is where you have the tribute to the channels. So it cannot be.
In your own little way, have you made any sort of interventions? I'm talking about the lawmakers in your own community. Since you have not seen the presence of NEMA in that community, what interventions have you, on your part, made for your people?
Yeah, we have made arrangement with even some other agencies. I've spoken and I've written, and within the next 2 days, I'm sure NDDC will be reaching my people. I have about 3 communities affected.
Don't you think this may also be like a case of lawmakers not performing their oversight functions duly as expected? Because if they are performing, at least before these sort of things happen, you know, they should already be ahead of what is going on and ensure that all these interventions are distributed evenly.
Your statement will not be totally out of place because NEMA, there's a committee in the House that is supposed to oversight NEMA. And we are aware of this coming flood. So if you say we have not done our job, I wouldn't know. It's only the committee that is in a position to say something concerning that. But I know that when a disaster that was already known, this is not the first time it's happening. We are aware that even dams in Cameroon were opened. But by the way, what does it take us as a government or as a country to whether build some dams along these channels or dredge the rivers so as to increase the volume?
In terms of interventions and preventing future occurrences, because we understand, according to the future predictions for coming years, that we may even witness more devastating situations than what has happened currently. So how are lawmakers engaging NEMA and other relevant agencies to ensure that, this is something that we know that is coming, but how are these interventions going to be evenly distributed and to ensure that people don't really feel the impact as much as they did now?
It's an interventionist organization. That is why they call it National Emergency Management Agency. When there is an unforeseen occurrence, NEMA and all other agencies, they have to step in to ameliorate the effects of any disaster. You understand? Interfaces with NEMA, that is not the responsibility of NEMA, is not to, prepare grounds for mitigation. Their own is that after occurrence, their duty is to ameliorate the effects of the disaster. But the question is purely an executive issue. When you say National Assembly members, our own is to make provision for when there is an unforeseen contingencies in the budget, which we have been doing. I hope you understand me. And again, interfacing with NEMA, the only one we interface with NEMA is when there is an emergency. And how do we interface with NEMA? When a disaster happens, members or as a group will come up with motions informing both our electorate and even Nigerians where there is a problem, because we are representative of the people. Then that is now communicated to NEPA for intervention. NEMA for intervention. So the issue was that when this flood happened, almost every state that was affected and all the federal constituencies and senatorial zones, we all came up with motion almost at the same time. So the House said, no, we need to collate all the motions and approach the issue head on. That was what we did.
So in this case now, you're blaming the executive arm of government?
It's their responsibility. Yes, I have to, because I don't have to shy away from the truth. Because we are aware this similar thing has happened in the past. Since 2012, this thing has been happening. We were aware that this one was coming. Now we are managing one. We should expect by next year another one will happen. So we should begin to take measures to mitigate against any future reoccurrence. We already knew that by next year, now we are aware that by next year, something similar will happen. That even the Cameroon, they will release water, and yet we know about the climate change, what is happening all over. So our duty is to begin to plan. We don't have to wait for people to die before we make provision or prepare grounds. So when you say every time everybody say National Assembly, yes, we're representative of the people. We still have our limitations.
We'll take a short break now. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
The National Assembly is a busy place. As the bastion of democracy, it is a place where bills are presented, motions debated, laws made, and the yearnings of the people are laid bare. Come with us as we take you through the workings of the National Assembly. We take you through plenary, committee meetings, and probes, all to ensure smooth working of the democratic process.
Glad to have you back. If you're just joining us, we have been speaking with Honorable Johnson Oguma, and he has been talking to us about the flood devastation in his region. These are disasters that we know are reoccurring. They happen each year and we are meant to prepare for them. But on the part of the community, are they properly informed? Are they properly briefed so they themselves, prepare for this kind of things that are coming to?
They are aware. That is why the level of death, that is loss of lives, is reduced. You know, the flood will not just come unexpected, because it takes time. As it's coming, you begin to notice that the water level is rising and it's taking over communities. So what is there is that we have so many communities along the riverbank. But the problem is that how many of them can you relocate? How many communities can you move into the hinterland? It is not easy. and they don't have other source of livelihood. It's the ground, the farm, the water, those that are fishermen and women, those that are farming, is the farming. They don't have any other alternative. When you, the one that would have been another solution which is not possible is relocation. How many can you relocate? So that the number of deaths is the level that it is because they are aware that they are in for another trouble. They know. But it's the responsibility of the government to find solution to this problem. We can dredge River Benue, we can dredge River Niger, we can create dams along the line and a form of buffer stock that can take volumes of water. You understand? We, as government, we should live. There are similar things in some countries in the US. We can build walls, you know. Look at Lagos. If you were in Lagos, when we were in Lagos, when Atlantic Ocean was taking over the whole Victoria Island, nobody ever thought that anything of such could happen. But today, even inside the Atlantic, you have a city there. So it's planning and execution. So as lawmakers, we are ready to assist the executive to find a permanent solution to this problem.
And as the chairman of the House Committee on Environment, I understand that you have definitely been meeting with government ministries, departments and agencies during the budget defense sessions. And maybe in some of these sessions, this kind of questions would have come up. How have you, as the chairman of that committee, also intervened by advising the government on intervention and strategic plannings to this kind of events?
The only way to advise government, as chairman House Committee on Environment, is to use the budget, to direct the budget to do the right thing. But you discover that even in our budgeting, it's a envelope system. Envelope system. You will realize at times when the executive will send a bill, send a budget bill, they want to insist that the budget must not be tampered with. And meanwhile, the budget is a bill. It's a bill presented to the House. It's an executive bill, which we must work on. But if we are to handle it the way we should handle it, there will be confusion in the system. You know, but as a government, both the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary, we are all three fingers in one arm. We must work together to deliver the dividends to our people. But the question is that when you say, it's only the minister that will appear before me. And the minister, the budget, the environment budget is not enough to even, some states have more than what the Federal Ministry of Environment is.
Have you made a case in this regard?
Yes, I've been talking. I've been making cases, but I'm equally aware that we are cash strapped. I'm equally aware that we don't have enough.
But this is actually a pressing matter. I don't think it's something that should be swept under the carpet and wait for a reoccurrence. It's actually an urgent matter.
Nobody is sweeping anything under the carpet.
Yeah, but you're already making excuses for
I
that.
expect I'm not making any excuses, because that is why you talk about priorities, prioritizing needs. So I expect that the executive, those concerned, should prioritize needs and see how we can make provision so that this thing will not occur again. Because this one that just happened, it has never been this magnitude before. If by next year another one like this happen, my sister, I wouldn't know how to put it, what will happen. Because you could remember when this one happened, we couldn't even move. We couldn't even leave Abuja. Those on the other side could not even come to Abuja. So we need to quickly do something. If this budget cannot solve it, we should quickly, there is room for supplementary budget. There's room for supplementary budget. There's no number of times that is restricted for executives to submit a supplementary budget to solve a problem that is imminent, that we are already seeing that is causing havoc.
Moving on to other matters, let's talk politics. You won't be returning to the House of Representatives next year. Speak to us about your future plans and also the experiences you may have gathered during your time in the House of Representatives, how you're going to use it to further your future political ambitions. Speak to us about that.
I'm not returning to the Federal House of Representatives. It is not by my design. It is the design of people. It's just the design. People designed that I should not come back. It was not my wish not to return.
Why is that? Do they feel you didn't represent them as you should?
That they cannot take from me. That they cannot take from me. I have represented my people the way and manner they have never experienced before. You are a journalist. You can take time off and go and interview my people. Whether in terms of bees, whether in terms of motions, whether in terms of zonal interventions, whether in terms of training my people, empowering them in the area of training, teaching them something that can make them independent of whether government of any other thing. I have done more than anybody has done, those before me. Even as I speak with you, I am wondering whether even the one that is coming after me, whether I'll be able to cope with what I have done. What I have done, my sister, I don't know if you want me to mention, but...
Yeah, you can go ahead.
It will be difficult. It will be difficult to...
So, with all your accomplishment, is it that your constituency, your people in your constituency, are they considering you for other elective positions, or what actually went wrong?
I cannot say that now, because all I know is that for God to allow it to happen, He must have a higher place that He's taking me to.